Welcome to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. I'm David Seltzer, a member of this congregation. Please, let's turn off our cell phones and greet our neighbors. Thank you, everyone. I'll greet you too. For today's short message, I've chosen a simple affirmation that I found in Science of Mind magazine for July 16 that particularly moved me. I attract only good into my life by expecting only good. Aligning my expectations with the highest and best experience I can conceive of myself, I affirm my good is established. Now, if you look in the behind me, you'll see the chant for today, and then we'll have them continue with the service with Reverend Carol.
Good morning. Is everybody enjoying the summer? Ah, so good, so good. Fire child sing and fire child dance. Fire child, you are mine. Fire child sing and fire child dance. Fire child, you are mine. Life's streaming, life's streaming. Watch my fire child grow. Life's streaming, life's streaming. Watch my fire child. Fire child sing and fire child dance. Fire child, you are mine. Fire child sing and fire child dance. Fire child, you are mine. Life's dreaming, life's dreaming. Watch my fire child grow. Life's dreaming, life's dreaming. Watch my fire child grow. You sound beautiful. Fire child sing and fire child dance. Fire child, you are mine. Fire child sing and fire child dance. Fire child, you are mine. Life's dreaming, life's dreaming. Watch my fire child grow. Life's dreaming, life's dreaming. Watch my fire. One last time. Fire child sing and fire child dance. Fire child, you are mine. Fire child sing and fire child dance. Fire child, you are mine. Life's dreaming, life's dreaming. Watch my fire child grow. Life's dreaming, life's dreaming. Watch my fire child grow. Watch my fire child grow. Watch my fire child grow.
I'd like to ask you, if you would, to turn off anything that might beep during the service, and so that we can just be with each other. The opening prayer today will not only open the service, but it will be a prayer for Aurora, Colorado. So I begin. I begin once again by knowing that God the good is all there is. I know that this is the ground of being of myself and everyone and everything. I know that spirit or God or whatever name that all-encompassing, originating energy goes by is the pattern that connects us all. It is the pattern that connects everything. It is the pattern that connects all experience, all times, all places, all dimensions. It is everything, everything, everything. Nothing is left out. And so I know that I certainly am a part of this pattern, that my source is the one source. And I know that for each person in this room, I know that for each person within the sound of my voice, I know that for each person hand to hand from here to Colorado, meeting all the way around the world. It is one life and many, many diverse expressions of that life. And so I know that this all-encompassing energy is about healing, restoring, and magnifying that which is life-giving. It is unconditionally loving, and I turn now to the unconditionally loving nature of my source. I turn into my own heart. And in that place, I feel waves and waves of love. And sitting for a moment in my heart and inviting all of those within the sound of my voice to sit in their own heart and remember something that is loved. Remember a moment of love. Remember a relationship that is filled with love. Remember a scene that is so lovely, it opens the heart. And so in this moment, our heart does open with the warmth of love. So important in me to have my heart open. And as my heart opens, the pain of the world can drift in. And because it is so filled with love, it can transform the pain of the world. And then I am able to give out only love. And so in this way, I heal myself and my part of my sweet world. I breathe in the pain of the world. I change it with the fire of love within me, and I give it out again as only love. And so because of my heart, and because of my breath, and because my heart is God's heart, and because my breath is God's breath, there is more love in the world. And it is not because of me that this happens. It is because of the presence of God within me. This is my practice. This is my blessing. This is my work. And may it be that this work is many, many, many people's work. And believing that it is so, I give my thanks. And I release this word now into the law. And so it is. So, the first song is going to change the energy, but I want to make a little bridge to it. Because what happens when we allow what I prayed about to happen, when we allow the breath, the pain of the world to come in and to have it be alchemically changed within us, Spirit lights our fire, and then the world is blessed. So please welcome now Sechko and Mies.
But before we do that, today is Stephen's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Stephen. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, my brother Stephen. Tell you, it's nice to have a brother, isn't it? Okay, you ready? Woo!
How this song came about is that we're like looking for a song about fire. So, Bodie, go to the computer, go to Google, and we'll, find a song about fire. So this is what came up.
1, 2, 3. Be all true. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, God, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, Spirit, light my fire. Come on, Spirit, light my fire. Come on, light my life on fire. Time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Try now, we can only lose, and our love become a funeral pyre. Come on, Spirit, light my fire. Come on, Spirit, light my fire. Try to set my life on fire. Set my life on fire. You know that it would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, oh God, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, Spirit, light my fire. Come on, Spirit, light my fire. Trying to set my life on 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 fire.
Good morning. I'm Reverend M. Louise Mann, and I'm here to do your announcements. And hope we're all awake now. And so we start with gratitude. And this morning we're giving gratitude to the sound team, the video team, and the social media team. Am I echoing? And these are the people that have brought us into the new technology, and we're very appreciative of them. So people in the audience to stand up that are part of that team. Yeah, there they are. Okay. Well, normally we'd say goodbye to our children. It looks like we don't have any kids this morning, but we're just going to bless that inner child within us and give a blessing to all the children of the world. So we have some wonderful things happening in our community, as always. And one of the things that's going on, that this is going to be our last chance to sign up for Gail Durkin's Mind-Body Connection that's going to be offered this summer. And it's had one meeting, and it's going to close after this summer. And, you know, Gail is a wonderful long-time practitioner with our community, and she is also a professional physical therapist. So, Gail, would you just stand up and let people see you? So this is your last chance to take advantage of her wonderful class that's in your bulletin. And something really wonderful is happening. We are going to have I don't know how many of you know Reverend Luzette McDonald, who used to be in this community. Yes. Well, we're going to have the blessing of her presence, and it's going to happen on Sunday, August 19th. She and Reverend Carol are going to do the service together, and then she's going to give us a wonderful workshop. It's called Heal the Inner Critic, the End of Self-Criticism. And so if you know anybody else that's from Reverend Lucette's community, you might invite them to come. It's going to be a wonderful day, and we're so happy to have her back. She's such a blessed being, and there are many, many who love her here. So now Reverend Carol is going to give us a talk about Joel Fortinos.
This flyer was given out to everybody last week. We have some extra ones on the event table. Joel Fortinos is a practitioner in our movement. He is also a minister of New Thought, and he is the publisher of Tarcher Press that publishes most of the books in our bookstore, and he is the author of the materials that go around Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He has a journal, a workbook, a day book, anything that could go with that package. And part of his life purpose is teaching it. So he is going to be here on Saturday, September 1st in the Learning Center. And I personally would not miss him any time I can be in his presence. So I hope you come.
And you know that Forgiveness Day is coming up, and we have the founder of that wonderful organization right here with us. And so Bob Path is going to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Ann. One thing we will do on Forgiveness Day, which is going to be 2 weeks from today, we will honor this church and Carol, because all of you have been instrumental in birthing it and having it grow. And even to this, our 16th celebration coming up. Woo! And we have some great people. Carol talked about opening your heart. We have Matthew Fox and Reverend David MacArthur from Walnut Creek, and one of our Heroes of Forgiveness will give workshops leading up to the Forgiveness Day. So it's all in this beautiful flyer. I posted them around the building, and if you will see me afterwards, just to take a look. The price is right. Suggested donation. We want everybody to come and grow and get better and be bigger and stronger and a flame, you know. So I just totally ask that you do forgive me if I'm not quite at this moment. I'm excited about the day, and yet sometimes I got to be careful that I don't get too enthusiastic. So I'm sorry, I'm a little off right at the moment. Woo! Anyway. So if you want your heart opened, come with Matthew Fox and Reverend MacArthur and with KLI, and just please be with us, because we love your support and we need it to get this across the world. Forgiveness is like the elephant in the living room. It's everywhere. Like when you see in Colorado what happened when there was unforgiveness, or a guy alone and feels, panic-stricken and goes out and strikes at people. So we can do better than that. The world has got to take a step where humanity mutates into the now. So thank you very much.
So read your bulletin for more, and I want to welcome any first-timers today. We see the divine expression of God in you, and we are so happy to have you here. And if you come to the newcomers, Reverend Carol will be happy to meet you. So now I want to welcome our wonderful divine minister, Reverend Carol Huntley.
You took my talk. And good morning again. So for those of you that are new-ish to us, or brand new, our theme for the year is Tools for Transformation. And this tree is sort of a symbol of all the work that we have done so far. We have a word a week along with your affirmation and your action step. And so we're doing in July here a thematic look at nature and how nature is so important to our own transformation. And we are having a week on each of the ancient elements, the way our ancestors sort of divided up the known world into earth, air, fire, and water. So I think that sometimes what happens when we get extremely sad or extremely frustrated is that we have not given ourselves what our soul wants on this earth path. I believe that each one of us has chosen in a conscious way to come to earth. That wasn't your only choice when you chose to take a body and come here. And because you did choose to come here, there is part of this earth plane that is very, very important to you. And part of it is really enjoying living what we came here to experience. Part of it is nature, part of it is relationships, part of it is being in our body, part of it is the passage of time. All of those things I think are unique to this particular realm. So when we're satisfied, we have a flow in of blessing and out of gifts. We are able to give our gifts, and we're able to receive our blessings. And part of that is to really love the natural world. This is a quote from Anne Frank. "The best remedy for those who are afraid, lonely, or unhappy is to go outside, somewhere where they can be quiet, alone with the heavens, nature, and God. Because only then does one feel that all is as it should be, and that God wishes to see people happy amidst the simple beauty of nature. As long as this exists, and I am certain it always will, I know then there will always be comfort for every sorrow, whatever the circumstances may be. And I firmly believe that nature brings solace in all troubles." What a timely, sweet message from Anne Frank. So the first Sunday that we did this, we started with earth, that element of stability, security, structure, nurturing, and you got the presence of a little rock. If you did not get a present of a little rock, there's a little pile of rocks up here on the altar, and you can take one because we're going to have a little medicine bag when we're done with these 4 weeks. Then last week we talked about air, which is the invisible element of support. And you were given a little bell because the symbols of air need to travel on the air because we can't see air. So if you don't have a little bell, there's a little pile of bells. You can get a little bell. And as you came in today, you should have received a match. And don't do anything with that match. Now, you will be able to later. So our element today, of course, is fire, and that's why you got the match. So fire is the primal force of creation. And whether we look at science and we look at the Big Bang Theory, or whether we look at religion and we look at God saying, "Let there be light," what seems to have been the beginning of all of this is a really big fireball from which we all came. So our birth is in that element of fire. Fire is about instant transformation. It's the most different from the form of earth, the solid form. It is quick moving. It's so quick we don't even see it sometimes because the flames leap and then they change. And so it's everything that changes quickly does so with a fiery essence to it. And that's what I was talking about in the opening prayer, this alchemical shift within us. That's because we have the Spirit of God within us that can change things instantly, and that is the fire energy. When we change something alchemically, it happens instantly, and as we, like I said, breathe in the pain of the earth and mold it with the love that is already within us, what we give out is love. That's an alchemical change, and it's a miracle. The changes that fire makes are miraculous. And so it is associated with destruction, transformation, release, excitement, courage, passion, and it's also about support, warmth, big love, and remembrance. And if you look at Janet's beautiful fiery altar today, we've got the colors of the flames, and we have these two little spirit beings that are actually little shamans. And I'll talk more about these later, but the shamans are the ancient medicine men, the ancient doctors, the ancient psychologists, the ancient caretakers of the tribe that knew how to use this alchemical shifting of energy in their healing. So wonderful, gorgeous, beautiful altar with the symbols of fire. So in us, when I turned 50, there was this wonderful ceremony that happened in this very room, a transformational ceremony for me, in which I was given a pouch with the symbols of earth, air, and water. And Reverend Mary Murray Shelton, who was the the ritualist, said, in this pouch are the elements of earth and air and water, but Reverend Carol has to add the fire, because it is the fire of her own spirit. And so that's what fire in us is, about that life force that is powerful and moving and causal of change. We have that wonderful saying called fire in the belly. And when we have fire in the belly, we have really, really strong feelings about something, and we have the will to get out and act with big, powerful action. And that big, powerful action, because of the fire in our belly, causes changes in the status quo. And so I think some of us, the fire goes out. Poor darlings. But it doesn't go out. It smolders. And today we're going to relight that fire. So it's also about enlightenment, about light coming into our mind. And actually, there is a Celtic saying called fire in the head. And there's a book actually about it too, Fire in the Head, Shamanism and the Celtic Spirit. And so if you look at these little characters, they have like red flames shooting out of their heads, because in the Celtic worldview, the head held all of the power. And so in this book, it says, actually it quotes W.B. Yeats, who is the poet laureate of Ireland, and he wrote a poem called The Song of the Wandering Angus, and Angus in Celt is a young man. So, I went out to the hazelwood because a fire was in my head, and cut and peeled a hazel wand, and hooked a berry to a thread. And so the commentary on this stanza is, he had the fire in his head that shamans everywhere believe is their source of enlightenment, illuminating visions of other realities. And you know, when we use our own mind to have visions of other realities, and we use the creative law to make changes in our lives, that's exactly what we do. I mean, we all have that ability, as a shaman does, to see a vision of a new reality and to step into it. And that's enlightenment, and that's the fire in the head. It's also about spiritual fervor, and this comes from a very different source. Emma Curtis Hopkins was Dr. Holmes, our founder's last teacher, and she writes in her book, Scientific Christian Mental Practice, the true religion is the true light. Light is warmth. The brighter the sun, the hotter it shines. The hotter the sun, the surer the rivers are to bring forth living creatures in abundance. So, the hotter your religion, the warmer your love for the world, for God, for truth. I love that, to have the analogy of a hot religion. Yeah, and it's also about love. It's about Hearts on Fire. You know, that's a marketing stanza for a diamond company. Hearts on Fire diamonds, you know, if you want to give one to your beloved. So, enlightenment, spiritual fervor, big action, and love, these are all powerful and creative. And when we look at how this ancient element works within the philosophy of science of mind, which basically has two ideas associated with it. Oneness, we are all one, and mastery. We can create our lives. When we look at fire in relation to the oneness, we have that divine spark that is the life of God in each one of us. It is the same. It is the God spark. And the God spark is the same in the tree and in the bunny and in the dog and in us. It is that we have clothed it differently with different consciousness, but that life is the same life. Hildegard of Bingen said this, "With my mouth," God says, "I kiss my own chosen creation. I uniquely lovingly embrace every image I have made out of the earth's clay. With a fiery spirit, I transform it into a body to serve all the world. And so that fiery spirit is changed into a tree to serve all the world. It's changed into a cow to serve all the world. It's changed into you and me to serve all the world. And another evidence of oneness when we think about fire is that with this central candle on Janet's altar, if the 7 billion of our brothers and sisters had a candle, an unlit candle, and they took it to this flame, that flame could light every single candle the world round. One fire, many candles. Then when we look at mastery, as I said, is loving the life you have created or creating the life that you love. And in order to create anything, really, in order to move ourselves, in order to become the person that uses the creative law to create something big and powerful and wonderful, we have to have passion within us. That's the fire. And so when you go to a practitioner, the first thing the practitioner is going to ask you, or near the first thing, or something like this, they're going to say, what do you want? And that right there sparks that passion. You may answer, I don't know, but they're going to work with you to figure out what it is you want so that that spark of passion within you can reignite. And then what we do with that spark of passion is that we work with it to describe the life you want to step into. So in this wonderful class that I taught 3 times in succession, Prosperity Plus, and I will teach again, they have this wonderful, wonderful exercise where after you have created the vision for your life, what you want your life to be like, there is this time where you work with a partner and you just turn around and step into the life that you want to create. And you speak to the person in front of you like, my life is so amazing. And then you describe it. You describe the partner that you're with, or you describe the job that you have. You describe the excitement that you have about your travels. You describe the loving relationship that you have with your children. Whatever it is that you want, you literally pretend that you have it by stepping into the person that you have to become in order to bring that different universe around you. Is this making sense at all? And so I encourage you to actually try that at home. Stand in front of a mirror, turn around once, and then describe to your image in the mirror the life that you want. And if you need help with that, because sometimes we get bogged down in details, and then we get bogged down in, well, how's that going to happen? I really encourage you to see a practitioner with this. But when we use fire ritually, and I'm all about ritual, we can set something on fire if we want, like writing something out that you want to release, setting it on fire and really focusing on that disappearing, and then it disappears from your life. I wrote a whole book about rituals, and there's a pair of rituals using a candle in here about homes. And it describes moving from a home and moving to a new home using a ritual candle. And what you do is you light a candle and you walk from room to room in your old house, and you remember what you've loved that happened in that room. And then the light of the candle attracts, of course this is all imaginary, but that's how we make everything, is we imagine it first. So we imagine that all of the love and all of the good times of that room goes into the flame and then into the candle. And so you go throughout your whole house, putting into the candle via the flame what you have loved in that room. Then you blow the candle out and you take it to your new house and you light it, walking from room to room and having those qualities fill the new space. That's the power of ritual, to help your insides keep up with the changes of your outsides. So, as we look at that quality of fire, there's another side, of course, to all these elements. And another aspect of fire is anger. And having it be, maybe some of you have anger issues. Maybe you've been married to people with anger issues. And it's a fiery feeling that overtakes you, and then you're in this loop of destruction. So I want you to see that all the elements themselves, earth, air, fire, and water, are neutral. It's kind of like the creative law. You can put anything into the creative law. You can say, oh, I'm so lonely, and the law will say, yeah, you are. Or you can say, this is the best day of my life, and the creative law will say, yeah, it is. Same thing with the elements. When we think about air, you know that saying, a blowhard? And that is using the power of your word ineffectively. The power of that airstream that creates your word and using it ineffectively. And the same thing with earth. When somebody is really earthbound, it means they're stuck. And in fact, we have that saying, stick in the mud. You know, that you're stuck. You can't change. You can't move. That security of the earth has you like quicksand. And fire, too. When we allow the explosive energy of anger to run us, we can destroy what we love with this element. And in fact, we call it firepower. And so I want to do a little additional healing work now around Aurora, Colorado, because we had firepower there and people were fired upon. And I want to begin this part about Colorado by telling a story on myself. A few years back, I was angry, and I did what I used to do. I looked for who to blame. And a very wise person, it was another minister in this movement, said to me, you can bring firepower to this interaction, or you can bring warmth. Now, I want you to hear the difference there. You can bring firepower to this interaction, or you can bring warmth. Both of those are analogies of fire. One is volatile, potentially destructive, it's angry. The other one is loving, connecting, and receptive. And they live very close together, because when we associate fire with a personality trait, it's about life force or passion. Passion can very easily slip into anger, or it can very easily slip into unconditional love and warmth. And a healing path for those people who are plagued with anger issues is to learn how to take that very same energy and move it into warmth. It's actually conceptually simple. It is the passion of fire that on the one hand is all about separation and keeping things very separate and criticizing that which is not you. And on the other hand, it's that passion of fire that leads you to connection, because the spirit in you is the spirit in them. Can you kind of feel the similarities and the differences? So when we look at what happened in Aurora, and the fire power that was used there, what we can see is that more firepower is not what is needed. And it is the fire of warmth that is needed. We don't need to make a volatile situation any more volatile. I'm reminded again of a therapist that used to be here in this community, and she told me a story about her partner being very angry with her, and criticizing her. And I was amazed that she wasn't angry back. And she said, well, he was already angry. It wouldn't do for me to put more anger in the situation. What we didn't need was more anger. And so she had taught herself how to go from the firepower of anger to the fire of warmth. So whatever your thoughts are about Aurora, what will heal the people there and the people around the world and all throughout this country is warmth. Now, sometimes when we have a situation, and this kind of moves into the area of forgiveness, if we are shocked, saddened, and completely thrown off base, like many of us were with this situation, moving directly to love and directly to forgiveness is impossible. Because what needs to happen first is that the grief over what happened, the loss of what we wish had happened, the loss of a peaceful premiere night was lost. And so we need to grieve the loss before we can move into love and forgiveness. But in this moment, we don't really have the time to do a whole grieving process. And so there's another way to get ourselves into warmth. And that is, if you can't love this situation that is in front of us, love anything you can love. If you love the person next to you, touch them. If you don't know them, you don't have to. But if you love someone next to you, offer love and feel how that feels. That it should have an alchemical effect in you, because we are moving from angst into consciously being aware that love is present in your life right now. If the person next to you is not the person that you want to focus on as far as what you love, think of somebody else that you love. Think of a situation that you love. Think of a place that you love. And get your consciousness into love. That then takes the firepower back to the original neutral element and moves it into warmth. So, helping you a little bit more, with the next breath, drop your shoulders. And with the next breath in, focus on your heart. And allow it to open once again, knowing that a closed heart will heal nothing. And so there's a candle, a white candle on the altar that I'm going to light now. One more piece of this is that a member of our sister church in Aurora was one of the ones who did not make it out of the theater. Her name is Rebecca Wingo. And so I use fire in remembrance. I light this candle For Rebecca Wingo, I light this candle for all who made their transition that night. I light this candle for all of those who are still in the hospital. I light this candle for all of the family members who love people that were affected by this tragedy. I light this candle for all of us whose hearts are hurting, and we are with every breath working on keeping our heart open. And so what I ask you to do with your match is to go home and light a candle for someone or something that you love. And spend some moments loving that person or situation and being grateful for it. And feeling how powerful you are when you move your consciousness from the feeling of being angry or victimized to being in love. You know, moving into the warmth of love is easy when we're already in love. And the practice is more powerful when we can take ourselves from a volatile situation into the experience of love. That is when we all become shamans. We all alchemically change the environment of our planet. And that is really the only thing that will shift us. We can make laws, we can elect people, we can have guards on the movie theaters. And it is the shift in consciousness that we are doing now that will create this into a loving, peaceful planet. We're the ones. We're some of the ones to do it. Moving into the inner work now. Once again, I consciously open my heart, refusing to have it close against any pain whatsoever. I open my heart and find the presence of Spirit right there. And in this place where I am one with God, I use the passion of my own life spirit to see a world in which no one wishes anyone else any harm. There are no wishes to hurt anymore. There are wishes to love, to care for, to nurture, to cuddle, to hug, to supply, to bless. I see a world infinite in its compassion, where fear has been replaced with love and courage. I see a world in which the fire of Spirit expresses itself as creativity and the expansion of good for all. I see a world in which everyone has hot love for God, whether we call that supreme energy Spirit or Allah or Great Spirit or Divine Mother, Yahweh, Jehovah, Lakshmi, whatever name we call it by. And I see a world where each one of us experiences warmth for all living beings. I see a world where we all rejoice in the Spirit of God, in me, in everyone, that Spirit that we all share. Blessed be.
shadow. There is a dark side to the fire. Standing amongst the ancient ruins, I hear the winds conspire, shadows dancing in restless moonlight on the dark side of the fire. Memories of ancestors gathered in circles when songs were sung to the lyre. Powers were tested and children invited to the dark side of the fire. Warmth on my face from the glow of the coals, I see my inner reflection. Aware of perceiving the deeper dimensions, our soul is the common connection. Howl of coyotes awakens within me instinctual desire to know myself truly, must fearlessly facing the dark side of the fire. The dark side of the fire. Face from the glow of the coals, I see my inner reflection. Aware of perceiving the deeper dimensions, our soul is the common connection. While listening to legends woven of magic, spirit takes me higher, embracing the mystery and tales that are born from the dark side of the fire. Mystical vision from deep in my being takes courage to acquire. Open the doorway while gazing into the dark side of the fire. Dark side of the fire. Dark side of the fire. Thank you. Stephen Meese on lead guitar.
The birthday boy. Now is the time for our receiving and giving of our tithes and our offerings. So the ushers are going to get in place in the back, and we're all going to prepare our tithes and offerings. Now, if you see as the plate goes by a little card in there that says, I've already pledged, that's what that means. That people have arranged with the office to have their offering taken out of their bank account in some way. And so if you would like to do that, it makes it so easy for us. And otherwise, just put it right there in that basket as it comes by. So we have kind of an old gospel, I think, song to help us today. We're blessing the offering, the giving, and the receiving.
Rejoice in the Spirit always, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Spirit always, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Spirit always, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Spirit always, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Spirit always, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Spirit always, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Spirit always, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Spirit always, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Spirit always, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Spirit always, and again I say rejoice. One more. I rejoice in the Spirit always, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. Yo.
Good. Hey, very good. Very good. So I bless this offering. I bless the dear, dear hearts that gave it. I bless all of us that will receive it. And I bless the whole flow of divine blessings in our heart and then from our heart. And so it is. Amen. Amen. So I would love to have the practitioners who are going to pray with everyone to come forward. Next week will not be water. Next week will be Scott Grace because
Beyond the elements.
Yeah, beyond the elements. Because I'm going to be at Asilomar, and then water is going to be the first Sunday of August. So please be here for Scott. He's the one that does the Dr. Seuss poems. And I'm going to ask M. Louise to come up and pray us out.
And the other practitioners are surrounding us. So just breathe into this space and take it all in. Take it all in. All the wonderful, wonderful experiences of this service. We are so blessed to be here today with each other and with these wonderful inspired people who serve us every Sunday. And so we give thanks for this. I am so grateful knowing that I am a divine expression of God We are all one. There is only one. And so knowing that is so, I know that that within me that has transformed today, that has grown by being here. There is that within me which has aligned with the divine, that God within and that God everywhere, where there is only the one. And so as I give thanks for this, knowing that as it is with me, it is with each one of us. We are that whole, perfect, and complete expression of God, open to continual growing. That God that is always available to each one of us, that wisdom, that guidance. And so giving thanks that this is so, I just accept it with great love, and so it is.
So I invite all of you to stand for our affirmation and closing song. And come next week. The fire of, here we go. Everybody, okay? It's up here. Not alone here.
A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
The fire of spirit burns in me. I am passionate about life. I love the dynamic activity of God in all my affairs. I love in big, deep, all-encompassing ways, and know that my life force is always directed for ever greater good.